I want justice for my baby.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You killed the wrong black woman this time.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
No, that's where I got. I'll shoot you right in the face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot! Drop the pot! Drop the...
Because this man should have never had a badge. He should have never had a gun. He should have never been given the opportunity to kill my child. Because he had some serious blemishes on his record. Serious.
How are you still employed by us?
I don't know.
Was Sonya Massey really a threat to the police officers she called to protect her? Video evidence suggests otherwise. I'm Lainey Law.
And I'm attorney Andrew Myers.
Today we have intern Red and Yoli Medina. How are you guys doing today?
Fine, thanks for having me again.
So today we're going to be discussing this nationwide news story of poor Sonya Massey, who called the police when she thought there was a prowler. She thought they were in danger. Took her a little bit to get to the door for whatever reason, and what ensues after is just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, and it was caught on. Thank God there's body cams now. Remember the days, Yoli, when there were no body cams?
Yeah, in the early 90s, that's when camcorders started coming out, and that's how Rodney King was filmed.
And there are police departments that still do not have body cams, and this is a case that just begs the whole rest of the world to have body cams.
I don't know if you caught Red. Red was asking. There's still some police departments that aren't obligated.
Yep. There's still police departments that still do not have them. Absolutely.
In America?
In America, in Massachusetts, in New Hampshire, yes.
Mass in New Hampshire.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Pennsylvania?
I don't know about
Do you feel safe?
So safe right now.
I'm from Pennsylvania, but I don't know. I could, make a couple of phone calls and find out. But why don't we just start out by taking a quick look at some of the body cam. Now, Sonya Massey had heard, she's a 36-year-old black woman that lives in Springfield, Illinois. She thought she heard noises outside of her house. And so,
You hear that gunshot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. I really don't. I don't think it's associated with this, though. Do you think?
No, but it sounded like a gunshot.
Yes, I heard you say that the first time. It did sound like a gunshot, but I don't think it's associated with this case. So as I was saying,
But imagine what Mrs. Massey might. I mean, I'm sure she heard it.
Okay, I get it.
She heard it.
So she calls the police, and the police come. The sheriff's deputies come, 2 of them, and they look around outside of her place, and they're looking around, and using the flashlight. They walk around, and they really don't see anything. All right, that's a car out in the driveway.
That's with the smashed window.
Yeah.
Seems like she was right to call the police here.
So now they head to the front door. I'm going to fast forward this just a little bit because they're just walking around here.
She called about a prowler, and you hear these noises and that sound like gunshots. I don't know what they are, but they sound like gunshots. She's in her home and she calls about a prowler. My understanding is that they're banging on her door.
Here they are. There they are, banging on the door. And they ask her about this later. She says, I was putting my clothes on. I was getting dressed.
2 houses down, I think.
And they don't announce themselves as sheriff's officers.
No.
If somebody's banging on my door, I'm not answer.
No, especially if there's a prowler out there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially late at night.
Good.
I've learned from Mormon missionaries and the Kirby vacuum people to just not answer my door anymore. Unless I expect someone coming, I'm not answering.
Yeah, I yell down. I have a window on the 2nd floor. I yell down if anybody comes. Who goes to the door anymore?
You come in the door or not?
Okay, there they go.
Finally.
All right. Hurry up.
out here and I need to go here. Please don't hurt me, y'all.
Why would it hurt you? You called us.
Okay,
We're not gonna hurt
please.
So what'd you hear?
Somebody keeps outside my house, y'all. Please,
Is this your car over here?
please, God, please, God, please.
Is this your car over here?
Uh-uh,
Oh,
please, God.
that's not your black car in the driveway?
Mm-mm,
Oh, well, we checked your yard. We walked around the whole block. We didn't see anybody.
mm-mm.
Right? You know, we don't.
Okay, Yoli, why don't they leave right now? I mean, the purpose of their visit to her property was to investigate a call that she made. She calls 911 and says, I suspect that there's someone outside, maybe a prowler or whatever. They've come to the property. They've done their search. I don't understand why they don't leave now.
He needs to leave. And if he has concerns about the car, he can just radio in and get the license plate number and find out who it belongs to.
Exactly. And it may have nothing at all to do with anything in the world. Maybe she was in an accident. Maybe a neighbor was in an accident. Maybe a boyfriend or a girlfriend or just a regular friend had an accident and said, I don't want to incur the storage fees. I'm just going to put that. So it has nothing to do. I mean, and that's my speculation, but I mean, that has nothing to do with the purpose for which they are at this stop. So in my view, they're done. They should have left.
But even like with the concern with the car, obviously something had happened to the car. The window was all messed up. So you're hearing that there's a prowler. You see that there's a car that's messed up just because it's not her car. There's two police officers. One of them can stay and take notes from her while the other one goes to his car, because I'm 90% positive most police cars have some type of software that allows them to run those checks.
Absolutely.
So
In 2024, yes.
exactly.
I mean,
Check the whole area. There's nobody out walking around.
I know, y'all. Please, God, please, God. I'm trying to get help, y'all, but
What do you need help with?
nothing. I just, please, God, please, God, please. I don't know what to do.
Do
No.
what?
Huh?
What do you need help with?
Nothing. I just wanted to see.
What were you going to say, Yoli?
yeah, what I was going to say is what we learned is that Sonya Massey's mother had called because she was having her daughter was having, Sonya Massey was having some kind of mental issues. And I don't know. I believe these officers may have known that, but in any event, Sonya Massey is obviously asking for help. She's not a threat.
Right.
So.
But she is not asking anybody to come in the house.
No.
But if there was like a welfare check that was in order, why did they have like an ambulance or anything? Is that what you're trying to say? Sorry, I might have missed.
No. What I'm trying to say is that I saw a video earlier that Sonya Massey's mother had called about Sonia. And the context of the call, I'm not sure why she called, but there was some previous contact that Sonya Massey was having some issues. Now, whether these officers knew about that or not, they were responding to the prowler. So I don't know if they knew about that or not, or if they should have known about that. But in the context of Sonya Massey, that's why I'm saying there was sounds outside that sounded like shots. She's reporting a prowler. There's a car out there with a broken window. So you think about her and you think about what's going through her mind, right? So with that said, here she's asking for help. She's not a threat. Okay. If she were a threat, she'd be coming at them with a knife. She's not. She says she needs help. They ask her, what do you need help with? And she says, I don't know. Still, she's asking for help. She's not a threat.
Right, but there's no probable cause to go inside the premises.
No.
She never at any time says, I need somebody to come inside. There's some problem out inside. No, the problem was outside. She never once at any time gave them even a reasonable suspicion of probable cause. So what we're about ready to see, everything from here on in is just totally without any reasonable explanation.
What do you want help
You hear
with?
that? You hear that
What do you want
again?
help with?
Yeah.
I heard somebody outside.
Yeah, we checked your house. We checked your backyard. I walked all the way through all these backyards. We checked your front yard.
We didn't see nobody. So
Go back to the shop.
You didn't see anybody?
Nope.
nope.
We checked the whole area.
Like gunshots in the
Took you so long to
background.
answer the door.
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry. I was trying to get
I got you.
dressed.
All right. Is there anything else we can do for you?
Huh?
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Go away. Go. That's it.
Go.
Goodbye.
Mentally?
Yes.
Sure.
My medicine and stuff.
All right. Okay.
Why aren't they investigating those shots that
Right,
we heard back now?
exactly.
Why aren't they calling in and saying, we hear shots,
Hey,
you want us to go investigate those? No.
I mean, come on. There's shots in. Well,
All right. That's
But
not
even-
your black card.
I do want to say, like, just by the way that she's reacting, it's almost like she made the call and realized that she got herself in almost a more dangerous predicament. It's just like, oh, I needed help. It's just like, oh, I don't know, like everything's fine. Like, don't worry. It's just like she realized that she's being now having this interaction with these people are hostile when they were being called to help.
Yeah, he was being very condescending. That would throw me
when
for
he
a loop.
talked to her and he spoke louder as if she's deaf.
Yeah.
He said,
I picked up on that
Got the
too.
slower tone going on. Like, just stop.
There's no reason why that officer that we're looking at right now doesn't, pirouette on the heels of his boots and walk out of there. That's what should have
and
happened.
then he says, but that's not your car. After he says, okay, he's ready to leave. But that's not your car though, right? It's like, if you have a suspicion about the damn car, why don't you run the plates?
Yeah, exactly. Go back in your police cruiser and run the play. They all have that stuff. I don't know if you've been in a cruiser lately. I have, for professional purposes, by the way. And they all have laptops. They have all kinds of electronic
Andrew,
stuff.
you were in the back of a cop car.
I was not in the back
Cuffed
of the cop car. Absolutely not. But if you're going to do your job, sometimes you have to do stuff that you got to do.
SUV? Whose is it? You don't know? Someone just parked it in your driveway?
They brought it to my driveway.
And just left it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's run that.
Yeah. 19, I got a 20 clear.
Does anyone else live here with you?
Somebody else.
David Mary 43556.
He's calling it in.
You got a name? You got an idea or something?
Listen to the gunshot.
Catch this.
Yeah.
See who we spoke to.
Why aren't they investigating that?
This was on July 6th.
Yeah.
These could be fireworks.
They could be, but
They shouldn't have fireworks either.
In New Hampshire, fireworks are illegal, and you hear them the entire month of July. Half of June and the entire month of July.
well, it could be. They could be fireworks, but still, it just sounds so strange.
It does sound suspicious.
Simple.
But you're right. It could be fireworks. We don't know.
Look, it goes in her house.
There's no reasonable suspicion to go in the house. That's wrong. That's a violation
Well,
right
the
there.
other guy's looking at the car and calling the license plate in, which I missed that part, but he's calling it in. This guy goes in her house. We don't know what transpired because he doesn't have his camera.
Right, like right after that guy was just told to go, like, basically f off, like, so I can go harass this girl.
Okay. So they're illegally in the house. They're trespassers.
Yeah, you don't need to look in there, buddy.
Shouldn't have to think about your last name. You're not in trouble. I just need to attach.
Massey.
Huh?
Massey.
You have an ID? That'd make things so much easier.
Oh, wait a second, sir.
You can hang up, Cotwell. That's good.
For what? You're there with the deputy, correct?
No, hold on, okay?
You can hang
Hold
up.
on for what?
Just 1 second, okay?
Yes, please hang up.
Okay.
What's up?
I got some paperwork. Can you grab that Bible, please?
Yeah. Hey, I just need your name so we can get out of here. Was there any damage previous to your car?
Previous, yeah, it
Okay,
was
what was the damage?
a dent, I believe.
What about windows?
Oh, it was something that happened earlier.
Okay, perfect. What is your last name? Shouldn't have to think about your last name. You're not in trouble. I just need to attach.
Massey.
Huh?
Massey.
You have an ID? That'd make things so much easier.
Now, why, Yoli, does he need an ID? I mean, the call would have gone in from 911, and they would have gotten the name at that point. They had the address, and so they would have had her name. I mean, on the one hand, yeah, you have a duty to give identificational information, but I mean, they're in her house illegally. They would have had the name from the 911 call and the address. So,
What are they doing in her house?
that's what I said.
It's just and you know, she's there and she has these papers and and what I want to know is if these officers knew that she had some kind of, you know, just, you know, mental disturbance or something. That's what I want to know.
It sounded like they were saying something about mental even before they went inside the house.
I just driver's license will do, and then I'll get out of your hair.
She can't find it,
I
so
want to show
just
y'all my paperwork.
I will
What?
get your paperwork.
What paperwork?
I got some paperwork.
Well, just
from-
get your ID real
Well, let's
quick.
get your
so I
ID
can test you.
first, and then
One task at a time here.
Okay. Let me
she
Grab
can't
your ID
find
for
it.
me.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Your ID. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
You
you see in that
have.
stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
Check on her.
Let me get this.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
Right.
One task. Okay, so something happened there.
Something happened there. Yeah.
He was pointing and I don't know what happened, but she ends up in the middle of the video getting up. I don't know. It looked like it may have.
So this is where things go south really very quickly, and we can't go frame by frame, but we're going to go very slowly because, you know, I guess there's a pot of water on the stove. There's nothing wrong with that. We all, you know, many recipes start with boiling water in the stove. You make tea, you boil some vegetables, you boil. So there's a pot of water on the stove. So what?
And they tell her one task at a time.
Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water.
All right. So she takes the pot, and it's kind of hard to see, but it seems like she's taking the pot of water off the stove. No big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Huh?
Rebuke you.
So we missed the context of that. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. But she doesn't appear to be a threat to anybody at this point, does she?
And there's a counter. Okay, there's a kitchen counter there that is in between them.
Yeah.
And he's the one who told her to get. It seems like he's the one who told her to get the boiling water or to get the water or something. And he's telling her one task at a time, and then he interrupts her while she's looking for her ID and tells her to go to the pot.
And
At
so
least that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then, so there's water boiling on the stove. So what? Let it boil. Get out of there. You got her name. You got everything. Go. Leave. Let her cook her eggs or whatever she's doing.
So I just wanted to say that I feel like a lot of people could misunderstand. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, because baptizing is like a heavy part of that religion. And that basically, it does not have anything to do with baptizing in water or anything like that. It's basically just saying, like, that statement was rude and I know why you're doing that, and God would disapprove of that. Not, I'm going to throw this boiling hot water on you. So I've seen a lot of things online about that.
I don't see any threat at all. There's no threat at all. I mean, if I'm him and I'm standing there and she's standing way over there on the other side of the counter, I don't know.
Like, how far is she gonna throw that pot of water? It's gonna go over the counter and like what? Go through all the air that's gonna cool it down. It's like
Maybe some drops.
burns. Yeah.
Maybe some drops might hit you, but you can
Let's
back
watch
away.
really carefully because things are about ready to go south really quickly.
Rebuke you in the name of
You better fucking not. I swear to God.
What? Huh?
I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. Now look at this. He draws a gun. He draws a gun and she's already going down. She says, I'm sorry. And she goes down and she hides behind the counter.
And there's a kitchen counter between them.
And she's hiding behind it. Watch this. I thought
Does
we
he
had.
have a hearing problem? Did he? I mean, even if she said, I'm going to throw this boiling water at you.
Which she didn't.
Which she didn't. But even if she had, all he has to do is back up.
Right? The guy was even given like a pre-warning, not even,
No.
you know, like for the cops that actually have been killed on duty, not a lot of them got that, you know?
And
So
I haven't
it's
read that
really
any of them
not-
were killed with boiling water.
Yeah, nobody dies from boiling water
Okay.
from
Exactly.
10 feet away.
Now look, she's going down. She's hiding behind the counter and he still shoots.
Drop the fucking pot.
All right, look, she's down behind the counter. She's down behind the counter. She's
And
at
he
this
moves-
point hiding down below the counter and he's still shooting at her.
14 shots fired.
3 shots. She's down behind the counter like this, and he shoots her 3 times. What? What police handbook does that come out of?
Shots fired! Shots fired! Drop the pot!
She's on the floor.
Drop the pot.
How do you
Bring
drop-
EMS now. We got a headshot wound to the female. Headshot wound to the female. 1078.
Nice language.
I was on. I'm gonna go get my kit.
No, headshot, dude. She's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
Did you catch that? The other officer says, I'm going to go out and get what he meant was his medical kit so they can try and revive her and provide some kind of first aid before the first responders get there. And he says, man, she's done. Just let's not do anything for this woman who's down on the floor bleeding to death right now. Just don't waste your time with the medical kit. Just let her bleed it out is basically what he's saying.
He's talking about her like this is like a game of Call of Duty. You know, like that is a living, breathing person. I don't know.
Yep. And in any world where a pot with water, whether it's hot or not, and there's a kitchen sink between you and you're in somebody's house, yeah, you can just walk out. Okay. Yeah. She's not chasing you with a hot pot of water.
No.
Now this guy has some cognitive problems, I think.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes. No, you're right, because we can jump ahead and stop me, Yoli or Red, if you've done more research than I. But after the fact, this guy was fired immediately. He was fired right away prior to the indictment that came out 11 days later on July 17th, I guess. And it was revealed that this officer, Sean Grayson, he's a deputy sheriff. He had a lot of problems, and the question was, why did they even hire him? He had worked in 6 police departments since 2020. He had a history of disobeying orders at the Logan County law enforcement. He had scored low. Yoli, this is what you had said. He had scored low on cognitive tests.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I would imagine that he would, because of his behavior. And afterwards he said, well, what could we have done? And he's worried about, look at the hot water almost reached us. It almost
my goodness, it's on the floor. Really.
So the analysis with respect to scoring low on cognitive tests is very relevant for a police officer, because they face these types of things where not like this, but they face circumstances where an immediate decision is required, and you've got to be at the top of your game. You have to have cognitive ability that you know immediately. Don't tell me don't judge. Yes, you judge within 2 milliseconds whether or not to react in a certain way. So the fact that he scored low on cognitive tests is relevant. 2 other things that were relevant when they hired him, he had been discharged from the Army for a serious offense, and he had 2 previous DWIs. Now, I guess I'll just let that sit.
Yeah.
They're talking about this as though this is an inconvenience for them. They're talking. Am I reading their tone incorrectly?
I wouldn't know. I mean, I don't know why they would be saying what they're saying if this was justified, or they're like, oh man. Well,
I'm not taking boiling water in the fucking head. And look, it fucking came right to our feet too.
Oh, the boiling water came right over to their feet.
Diva.
That's why they had a shooter.
By his own doing.
that is so. What is so the connection between the boiling water and what it's going to do to him is missing, because he obviously doesn't understand that the fact that the boiling water almost came to his feet is not a dangerous thing.
I don't know. He might be made of paper.
I know what people are going to say in the comments, and that's fine. Let me have it. I deserve it. I don't have to sit here and go on the podcast, so I deserve it. Hit me with your best shot. But I can tell right now people are going to say, well, you weren't there. You couldn't judge. You weren't in his shoes. You can't Monday morning quarterback sitting there in your nice air-conditioned studio. but that's not my job that I applied for. He did. He did apply for the job. And when you apply for that job, you need to be certified. You need education. You need training. And yes, you need experience. He'd already had 6 jobs since 2020. So yes, I will judge. And yes, I will say you do need to make split-second decisions. And my split-second decision is if I go over and visit Lainey and she's standing in the kitchen with a pot of hot water, I'm not going to shoot her.
Well, what I want to know is, did they know she had, mental issues, as I saw in a previous video that her mother had talked about?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can easily back out of her house.
Yes.
This is, to not understand that and then to later say, "Oh, look, the hot water almost came to our feet." That is a problem with perception, with a cognitive issue. That's not. You can train police officers as all you want, 24 hours a day, but if they can't grasp it, you're wasting your time.
There are a plethora of regulations with regard to use of deadly force if you're a police officer. And essentially, we don't even have time to get into them all. We could read, a textbook on it, but it basically boils down to the summary conclusion that you don't use deadly force unless you have a realistic, objective feeling that you face lethal force. That's when it's justified. And I didn't see that anywhere in here. I didn't see that anywhere.
I think he had an episode himself, like a psychotic episode. He
flashback
already had that want to murder somebody. He's an opportunist. That's what I'm seeing.
Or if he was in the military and had PTSD, he could have been having some kind of psychotic flashback that somebody was. I have no idea, but it was not. It was mortifying to watch this.
Okay, so let's finish up with this. Why are they still holding their guns? She's down on the floor
Damn
in
it.
death throes, and they're still holding their guns. I'm inclined to maybe believe Red.
I can't believe you don't think she's a threat when she's on the floor.
No, that Red said maybe it was a psychotic episode. The woman is down on the floor in the throes of death, bleeding to death, and they're still holding their guns.
What else do we do?
What else could we do?
I'm not taking hot boiling water to the face, and it already reached
Yeah, it's like a boiling water to the face. It's just like
That's
deadly.
so hard to make him excuses for himself early.
got a
He
52
knows
round?
fucked up as soon as he pulled that trigger. And good.
So I'm sorry, Red, I was rolling over your comment. Go ahead.
I'm happy that he knows he messed up. I'm happy that he can see the situation that he's gotten himself in. And I'm happy that he's shitting himself about the accountability that he needs to face.
Yeah, that was his last moment on the job. The other little fact is that Sean Grayson, the deputy sheriff, is 6'3" and 228 pounds, and Sonya Massey was 5'4" and 112 pounds. So she's a petite, tiny. 112 pounds. He weighs almost. He weighs twice what she weighs.
But she had a pot of water.
And she was also like a pot of water. I know, very dangerous weapon. But she was also complying with him. They asked her multiple times, "What's her name?" And multiple times, I believe I counted 3. She says Massey. She's like, "What's your last name?" Silence. What's your last name? Massey. But she says she was complying.
She's still breathing, but she's losing a lot of blood from the head. I'll go get my med kit. Go get, hurry, get your med kit.
Okay, so now they're talking about getting the med kit. Now they realize, oh, geez, wait a minute. She's lying there dying on the floor, bleeding to death, literally. And so now
it's because they need something to do now.
You know what? There's a second body cam. There were 2 deputy sheriffs there at that time, and we saw the body cam from the other deputy sheriff. And there is a body cam from Sean Grayson himself. And so let's let's take a quick look at that. There's no audio in the beginning of it, by the way.
Notable arm covering the camera.
There's no audio on this. That's why you don't really hear anything. And I don't know that this really helps us. Do you?
Well, he's holding the gun, and it's like she's down. There's no hot water. I mean,
Yeah.
why are you still in this response like there's a threat? Like he's still in this flight or fight response when she's already down, and she's down already. Okay.
He's 6'5", she's 5'4". He weighs 228.
And
She
look at
weighs
how
one.
long.
Look at this. She's down on the floor, and look, you can see blood. No, I guess I'm wrong. She's down on the floor, and he's holding his gun.
Yeah, it's almost like he maybe has some. I mean, he was in the military, and people who are in the military sometimes have a difficult time, but that doesn't excuse the sheriff's department for hiring him if he had issues. And I think those issues had to have been apparent, especially when they say that he scored low in the cognitive area and he had a prior history of doing things that were not within policy.
And I feel like people are like a little bit too like, oh, DUIs aren't that big of a deal. Yeah, it's not murder, but that shouldn't be the bar, you know? Like if you're going out driving drunk, you still don't have a regard for other people's lives. Like you're still okay with harming other people, and that's not somebody you want to be a cop. That's careless.
I used to do a lot of drunk driving defense. I don't anymore. I did it one time, and it's the kind of thing. It's not your usual typical type of a defendant. People, business people, working people, both genders, all ages. It happens once. To a lot of people. It happens once to a lot of people. They don't, and I'm not defending it. In this venue, I did defend it legally in another era in my practice. But most people that it happens to realize, really, that can happen to me, and these are the consequences. I'm going to lose my license. I have to sit there through hours and hours and hours of classes, and if I don't pass the class, I have to go to counseling. And so most people, it is literally a rude awakening. Losing your license. How can you lose your license and continue to have a normal life in 2024?
Yeah, Uber is the best thing that ever happened.
But so my point is that it does happen to people, and they're good people. I'm not defending the fact that they had a DUI, but the second time. Now, again, for a person that has problems, a person that has drinking problems, call an Uber. But should they be somebody that's shown that lack of regard? Should that person be hired in a law enforcement agency? I don't think so.
Right.
No, I feel bad for Sonya Massey's family and her son.
Absolutely.
And they have a great attorney who's handled these cases, and I hope they can't bring her back, but hopefully there are changes made.
Well, it seems like these cases just keep rolling on. And we don't learn. That's my perception. We don't learn.
It's hard because I do have loved ones that are officers, and I'm not anti-police, but it is getting scary how many cases like these, especially since 2020. It just seems like it's becoming, and maybe it's through ease of the internet, maybe it's the fact that we have the body cams, but this is just repeated unacceptable behavior, and it's not even just one state, it's across the whole nation.
But I mean, we're talking about Rodney King back 30 some years ago, and this is still happening. I mean,
it needs to be more training, needs to be more consciousness, needs to be
screening. I mean, screening people. I mean, screening their mental capacity to handle situations.
Or more repercussions for officers, because like if you're in a job and you know that you can do whatever you want without repercussions, and you already want to do that. Like,
And to have an organization that's not going to file a grievance on your behalf. Yes, I said it. To have an organization out there that takes your side to the sure.
No matter what.
Does he deserve a defense under the United States Constitution? Yes, he does. But should somebody be filing a grievance on his behalf? Really?
Well, you know, he
That
served in,
organization needs to be checked out.
well, he served in the military, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, to the extent that he served in the military, I don't know, you know, when people go into the military, they're generally in their like 18 to early 20s. And a lot of times, you know, they're vulnerable at that time because a lot of mental disorders come up at that time. And if there's stress on top of it, they come up. But regardless of that, look, you can't have somebody who is damaged, regardless of where the damage came, whether it came from being in the military or it came from abuse with the family. You just cannot have people who cannot function in a situation that is an emergency situation that has issues with themselves. You need people. I mean, mistakes are going to be made. Mistakes happen all the time, but this was not a mistake.
No. You know, law enforcement typically, you know, historically has relied on the military to train officers because you go into the military and you know, people learn how to handle a firearm. They learn the differences between types of firearms. And so I'm not going to be the one to disparage hiring from the military, but I agree with you, Yoli, that there needs to be better screening and training. And, you know, there needs to be better outtake interviewing by the military to say whether or not this person has had issues that would be positive or negative for law enforcement. And then law enforcement, God love them. I have a family member that's law enforcement also. I'm not painting with a broad brush, but what I'm saying is law enforcement needs to have some type of a screening mechanism that when one applies for a law enforcement job, they are screened, they are tested. Okay, this person knows how to handle a firearm, but is this the type of person we want going into our community where people may or may not have emotional issues, mental issues, physical issues with a firearm? Is this the type of person that has the character, the intellect, and the ability mentally and emotionally to handle this job? So there needs to be better. My point is there needs to be better screening.
For attorneys, you have to go through the whole, well, in California, the whole moral character investigation.
Walmart has that. Walmart has a personality quiz.
They put more effort into drug tests than
we have
how well they are.
in California, we have to have a moral character investigation where they investigate everything about you to make sure that you don't have any, you know, that you're not morally corrupt or, I mean, it's a strange thing, but you know what? They do it.
Clearly, there was no justification for that shooting at all. It's just beyond belief, isn't it?
It's sad that this happened and it didn't need to happen.
Unfortunately, not beyond belief, though. Like, I'm pretty sure in Minnesota, just a little bit ago, a few black teenagers just got, like, their house just got busted into by cops, and they got literally tortured, and then they planted guns on them, which is pretty much what they tried to do to Sonia. Like, they were going to demonize her.
And one of the things that came out in the autopsy was that the angle that the bullets went into Sonya Massey were downward, showing that yes, she was already down. When they shot her, which remember when we were playing back that video, we were showing that she had already scrunched down. She was already going down. And at that point, there were 3 more shots that were fired. And so not that any of the shots were necessary, but those 3 shots were already while she was down, and the autopsy confirmed. So this was a totally unnecessary shooting, an unnecessary thing. The man was fired immediately or put on leave of duty, whatever they have to do. And then And then he was indicted first-degree murder with premeditation and deliberation. And the interesting thing about that is people say, well, don't you need, a few days to have premeditation and deliberation? No, premeditation and deliberation can happen in a second. All it means is that there was an intent. There was an intent to use a gun and to bring serious bodily harm. And that's what happened in this.
Yeah, there was a chance for him to not do it.
Exactly.
Thought. I mean, a normal person would back away and get out of the house if they thought she was going to throw water at them. There's no need for what happened. At the most, you get maybe a little burn from a hot water. Okay, that's not deadly force. Not to mention that she had ducked and said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She was alive when she said, I'm sorry, because you could hear her, obviously.
And not to beat a dead horse, but playing on the point that you made a second ago, I mean, it looked to me, I wasn't there, I don't have a tape measure, but it looked to me that she was at least 20, 25, maybe 30 feet away from them holding a pot, not a big cauldron, but a pot of hot water. And she was 5 feet 4. How far can somebody who's that small throw hot water? It was not a threat. It was just, there's just no way that any reasonable person would think that it was a threat. So he's got a tough hoe ahead of him to defend himself against those cases. Something that I found interesting, though, Red, didn't you find something when you were doing your research? And thank you very much. You did the introduction, and we should give you credit for doing the introduction and doing some other editing. But didn't you find something interesting? What's that?
So it's okay. You don't have to. That actually might give me more anxiety.
Give you more anxiety or me more anxiety? Red, you did some research on the fact that he's being defended in some context, didn't you?
Yeah, so the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council filed a grievance on his behalf, and they sought his reinstatement, reimbursement of lost wages, and restoration of lost benefits. And obviously the union isn't complying with this, but what? Why
they filed a grievance on his behalf.
Yep, Sean
They
Grayson's
filed a grievance
behalf.
on his behalf.
Disgusting.
Interesting.
Hopefully they didn't look into it, or like this was negligence, that they were like, this is the best case scenario, because otherwise that's just awful. Like that means that this person's life means nothing in the eyes of the state.
If there's anybody to be responsible globally, it's the sheriff's department, okay, that hired him for this position. Immediate responsibility goes on the sheriff's officer, but globally, it was foreseeable this was going to happen, in my opinion. He doesn't obey orders. He was told to stop a police chase, and disobeyed that order. And what does he do? He not only disobeyed it, he shut off his headlights and continued on and hit a deer.
Yeah,
and then
you had sent me a video, and I watched the whole video of the sheriff of this county who had been called on resoundingly by people overwhelmingly to resign. And he said, I am an elected official. I will not resign. I promised the taxpayers and the voters that I would stay through good and bad. And this is a bad time, but I will stay. And he was confronted by a very good reporter with what you just said, that in his previous job in Logan County, I believe it was, he had been found to disobey orders, including the one you just mentioned. There was a high-speed chase. They said, call it off. It's not worth it. And he continued. And there were some other instances like that in his previous job. And so if this sheriff in this county had been doing his job, they would have looked a little bit more into that, as well as his low ranking on cognitive tests, as well as his not favorable discharge from the Army for a serious violation. I mean, it's called wrongful hiring. It's called negligent hiring and retention.
And yeah, and the cognitive, the fact that he scored low. I mean, there's tests for a reason.
What I want to say before we go is, Yoli, congratulations! You've posted your first episode.
I had no idea what I was doing, and I was probably nervous. But you know what? If I don't do it now, I'll never do it. And it involved a civil settlement, which is something that I can talk about.
Well, I think you're too self-critical, because I went ahead and watched the episode. I thought it was great. I think you did a great job. I like your new background with those books there. I think you did a good job explaining it. And I think for a first episode, I mean, please don't go back and look at our first episode. Remember, Lainey? Oh my God.
It's been a journey.
Well, I haven't looked at it.
That's putting it nicely. It's been a journey.
I was not the producer for the first episode.
Everybody,
I disavow.
But people know me from being on other panels, so I figured I'd do something because of this Micah Miller case where she was in an abusive situation, similar to the Black Swan situation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of reasons to settle civil cases, and people were thinking that the family sold out, and it's more complicated than that. So I just put out a video just telling my thoughts and how it is when you go to a mediation or you're ordered to mediate, right? The court says you got to go to mediation. So you start that before you even file the case, because you're going to have to do that. And a lot of times they present things that you don't realize, and you think advise your clients it's better to settle.
Yoli, don't give it all away, because I was going to recommend that people go to your channel. I'm gonna link, if you want me to. I'm going to go ahead and link your first episode down here. I hope that you don't get so busy with your own channel, because we've really enjoyed having you fill in for us. Lainey was out a couple of times, and you filled in, and you've continued to do it. So we've enjoyed that, and I hope we don't lose you. But
no. What I thought I could do is like videos to. What I thought I could do is videos to a prelude to these shows.
Oh wow, we'll have to think about that.
Yeah, like I could give some information about something, a case, and if you want to know more, I'll be on Andrew Meyer's show.
All right. Well, we first met over, I think it was on CJ's show.
Yes. But I wasn't on panel. I couldn't be on panel I don't remember why, but it was you, Tommy, Rosie.
Yeah, Rosie.
And CJ. And for some reason, he invited me, but for some reason I couldn't. I don't know if I was sick, because I was in chat. I remember I was in chat.
I remember that. Sick. Yeah, I think you were having technical diffiques that night. I'm not
maybe
sure.
It was technical difficulty. I don't remember, but I couldn't be on panel. So anyway, I was in chat. But I'd like to see another civil attorney,
all right. Well, I wish you all the best with your own channel. I hope you'll still contribute with us, and all the best. And yes, we will put a link down in the description. So thank you, folks, for joining us. Please be kind to everyone. You know what I'm going to say. If you're in the grocery store, the parking lot, of the gas station, be kind to people. You don't know what they're going through, and so always try and be respectful of everyone. I don't care who they are. And in our comments, we want you to comment. We want you to give us a thumbs up and to subscribe. And we love your comments, because they do stimulate some thought. We read them all. Just please don't personalize them, because there's no real call for that. So don't say anything about us in the comments you wouldn't say to our face. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us, folks. Have a great week. You have been watching About the Law, a production of the law offices of Andrew D. Myers in Methuen in the Merrimack Valley of Massachusetts, and in Derry, just outside of Manchester, New Hampshire. Remember to click the like and subscribe buttons down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to share it with your friends and others. If you'd like to talk to me about an injury case, a car accident, a slip and fall, a serious bodily injury case, or some other case, please feel free to contact me. I'd love to talk to you. You can contact us through my website at attorney-myers.com. sonia@andrewmassey.com. We have a contact us block, or you can call on one of the telephone numbers we've given there, or you can email me at andrew@attorney-myers.com. The foregoing is offered for informational purposes only. It is not intended as and does not constitute legal advice. Laws vary widely from state to state. You should rely only on the advice given to you during a personal consultation by a local attorney thoroughly familiar with state laws and the area of practice in which your concern lies. This podcast must be and hereby is labeled advertisement in some jurisdictions. And that's that.
And that's that.
And that's that.
And that's that.
I want justice for my baby.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You killed the wrong black woman this time.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
No, that's where I got. I'll shoot you right in the face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot.
Because this man should have never had a badge. He should have never had a gun. He should have never been given the opportunity to kill my child. Because he had some serious blemishes on his record. Serious.
How are you still employed by us?
I don't know.